be back home?
Yes.
Zoop playing?
I don't know yet.
Okay. Did he suffer that during a game? What was that?
Yeah, last game.
Okay.
Kind of tweaked it a little bit, so felt a little bit this morning doing shoot around. So we're gonna, he's gonna get on the court and see how he feels.
Um, in the games you guys have been able to play relatively healthy, Luke is probably like, I want to say, seventh in three-point attempts on the team. Now, obviously, there's a lot of guys back, more attention on him, but are you happy with that number? Like, I think it's like 3.6 per game attempts from three.
In some cases, he's turning shots down, which I get on him a lot about that. And then, a lot of the games, like I said, PG and Kawhi being out, they generate threes for other guys. And so when they're on the floor, they cause a lot of attention. You see last game, Nico got 10 threes up. Marcus gets 8 threes up. We shot 47 threes, I think 39 the night before. And so when those two guys on the floor, they're going to generate shots for everybody else. And just, with Luke, being hurt, being out for a while, and then Kawhi and PG kind of being out for a while, it kind of took a toll on his shot attempts, I think. So we're going to get back to that. That's not going to be a problem at all.
Hey, Ty, when it comes to Boston, they shoot a lot of threes. They are really accurate shooting the three. That's a big part of their offense. How do you kind of prepare your team to kind of defend what they're able to do on that end?
Well, it's tough. Like I said, Jalen's playing at a high level. Tatum's playing at the MVP level. And so they cause a lot of attention, like our two guys. And so we got to be smart about it, just mixing up coverages, but making sure we're closing out the three-point shooters, running them out the line, making sure our low man's there to protect and then be ready to X out on the backside. And so we got to do a good job of both. It's definitely going to be a multiple effort night, defensively. And if we don't have the multiple efforts, it could be a tough night for us.
Hey, Ty, you mentioned Jason and Jalen. How do you look at them as a duo compared to the other great duos in the league?
One of the top duos in the league. There's no question about that.
How have you seen their chemistry kind of grow?
I think Joe has done a good job. Coach Joe has done a great job of just, making sure they understand who they're playing through. And so when you're playing through two guys and everyone buys into their role about how they're going to play and who we're going to play through, it makes it a lot easier. They've been a lot more efficient. They're passing the ball very well, making the right play, making the right pass, making the right read. And so those two guys know the ball's going to be in their hands. And so, like I said, Coach has done a great job of just letting the team know this is how we're going to play every single night. And they got a rhythm like that, and they've been playing well. And so it's a tough challenge every single night because they're going to get 20, 25 shots a night. And so we got to have a multiple effort night on the defensive end.
Ty, with Rob and Al both being out, they've been starting Blake at the 5. He was a guy who wasn't playing a whole lot in Brooklyn last year, but he's been in the starting lineup and playing all right for them. What have you seen from him that he's been able to bring in their starting group?
Well, he's shooting a three-point shot. Of course, Al shot it well as well. And then, with his passing ability, when you double-team, Jason, you double-team Jalen, he's a great guy that can get the ball in the short row and make a play, or he can catch on the perimeter and make passes. And so he's a very good passer at that position.
On Saturday, you used Luke with 4 wings in the small ball lineup. What about that lineup kind of impressed you, and what did you like about it even going forward?
Defensively, I thought we were great defensively. Holding the Wizards, I think, to 23 points in 17 minutes, I think it was. And so I'm defensively able to switch, a lot, keeping guys in front of us, but also be able to rebound the basketball. And so it got us back in the game for sure. And then just Luke's shooting ability. I think he made 2 big threes towards the end of that third quarter, kind of, I think gave us the lead at the end of the third quarter. But having his shooting on the floor with our 4 wings that can guard and defend and rebound the basketball is pretty good. We got to work a lot more on it, just our offensive, on the offensive side of things. But defensively, we're way ahead on that small lineup unit.
Ty, you took obviously not an optimal situation in Cleveland and took over as head coach. What's it like to be just kind of thrown into that situation like a Joe Mazzulla? And what did you learn on the job as being a head coach and differences from being an assistant?
For me, it was tough because I've never, been a head coach, and it was tough because it was midway through the season. And so, if you get a chance to have a training camp, you get a chance to have preseason games, you kind of understand like how you want to coach and having a feel for what you want to do. But being thrown into the fire like right away with no preparation, it was tough. And so, but I said Joe stepped in and done a great job. I think the team respected him right away. His demeanor on the sideline is very good. And like I said, Brad Stevens stamped him. And so when he came in, he had instant respect, and the guys respected him. And you can tell by the way they play.
Ty, with Rocco, is it a case of you knowing what you have with him on both ends of the floor and exploring other things? I mean, and on nights like tonight, if Zoo doesn't play, like, could you see him play more? Because I don't think he played on the tail end of that road trip.
Yes.
So is it a case of you know what you have and you want to see other things with him?
Yeah, I want to see other things. And like I said, I've talked to Rocco. We had a communication. And so right now, getting Kawhi and PG healthy and Luke healthy, like I said, he just got to stay ready. And so he understands that.
Ty, just want to get a check on Norm. How far away do you think he is as far as being able to return to the floor?
He's progressing very well. Not ready right now. You know, I'm still feeling a little something here or there, but his workouts have progressed. Being on the floor, shooting, you know, doing some individual workouts, and so I'm not sure of a timetable right now.
Going back to Joe, you know, when he took over, he talked a lot about kind of respecting like the system that was already in place and wanting to kind of just like let the guys kind of take some ownership of that, and it obviously worked well. How did you figure out how you wanted to approach that when you walked into a similar situation?
I didn't know. I really didn't. You know, I thought I would be a sit-down coach and kind of just sit down, let the guys play and figure it out. But then understanding, like, you know, a lot of times guys can't call a flow of the game like you see it. And so having to stand up more, doing more, and I just didn't know. I mean, I thought I was ready, but I just didn't know how I was going to coach because I didn't know the type of team that I would have. I didn't know what I had to do. And so for me, it was just kind of learning on the fly. You know, I had a lot of help, you know, with Larry Drew, you know, did a great job of helping me out. He was a guy I leaned on a lot to really get me through the tough situation, the tough times until I figured it out. And like I said, he's with me today and still does a lot of that. And so Larry Drew was a big part of, you know, my success in Cleveland, along with the rest of my staff as well. But he's someone I leaned on who had head coaching experience before, and we've known each other for a long time. So he helped me through that.
I mean, when you had your first moment, you had to kind of like put your foot down. Like, how did you approach that? Like, kind of not knowing exactly how they react.
Well, I think it starts with your best players. You know, it started with LeBron, Kyrie, and K-Love. And once you get those, you know, hold those guys accountable, you know, everyone else will fall in place. And so that's kind of how I looked at it. I've always been a truth teller, tell the guys the truth when you need to tell them the truth. And so for me, it started with LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin, and just holding those guys accountable. And when I had to put my foot down, it starts with those guys first. And then, like I said, everybody else will fall in line.
Ty, for those of us who aren't here every day, are Kawhi and Paul still dealing with minutes restrictions, and how are they working back for you
Paul's
guys?
not, but Kawhi is, yes.
The 30 minutes?
I can't hear you.
The 30 minutes?
I can't remember.